Hey everybody, how you doing? As you can tell, I'm not Adam Sessler. He's off doing some crazy thing that he's always doing, apparently. He's got 5,000 things to do. But I am joined by Patrick Klepek, and we're here to talk about Halo Reach in multiplayer.
It's a video game.
This is apparently it's a big
what I
series.
hear. That's a big exclusive, actually, is that Halo Reach can confirm
it's a game.
Is a video game that is playable.
Good, then we're done. I think so.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about player investment.
Yeah, player investment is this new thing that we recently chatted with Bungie about. And so player investment is essentially, you've got games like Modern Warfare 2 where you gain experience as you play the multiplayer, you gain new attributes, you level up, you kind of have an RPG-like experience when you're playing the multiplayer. So you kind of feel like you have some ownership over the multiplayer experience as opposed to just sort of a race to the top of the leaderboard. And so what they're doing with Halo Reach, player investment is that in multiplayer, but also in single player.
Right.
So it's a part of the whole Halo Reach experience is that you create this character, and as you invest, player investment,
Makes sense.
you unlock credits which allow you to buy new attributes for your character. Now, these attributes don't actually modify what you do, but they're more of just physical, like you might have a different helmet or a different shoulder pad or something that makes it uniquely you, and you earn that as you go. You complete different things throughout the game, or you play multiplayer, or you complete the campaign. And so it's kind of just about creating this overarching experience that's single and multiplayer, but it all kind of funnels into the same character that you're building.
Right, and I guess pulling off kind of, is it more mode driven? Is it like, kill 50 people in a row? Is it kill people with shotguns? Is it like challenge based?
Actually, it's kind of it works in two ways. In one sense, yeah, I mean, to earn credits, and credits is how you're going to level up, how you're going to progress, how you're going to unlock new things. You gain credits by doing different things. So they didn't really break down exactly how that'll work. Mm-hmm. They're kind of in the midst of figuring that out themselves. Right. But headshots, different styles of play will inevitably get you different amounts of credits. So they want to try and avoid, if headshots get you the most credits, everyone's just going to go for headshots. But I think the stuff that will involve the most credits will be skill-based. So just because something takes a lot of credits doesn't mean it will be easy to do.
Right.
And so in addition to that, they have these thing called challenges, which actually I'm really interested in because I tend to play the single player and maybe dabble in the multiplayer and then move on to the next game.
Exactly.
But with Halo Reach, they have this thing called challenges. And so challenges are a daily and weekly thing. They're like a playlist that they release every single day, every single week. Mm-hmm. And it depends on the scale of these changes. So on a daily basis, it could be something very small, like kill 50 enemies, get these credits, and then you get and that's the daily challenge. It could be something larger where you need to get together with 4 people, and maybe you need to kill 1,000 brutes or something like that. And what's cool about this is that they might come up with very specific challenges that alter the game's rules, but they'll already have those rule sets set up, and you just hit A, and the game will be modified to accommodate those. And what's cool is that not only is it's not just multiplayer. Usually everything post-release for these kinds of games is sort of tweaking the multiplayer and getting those people to keep playing. For someone like me that sort of gets intimidated because I'm not very good at the multiplayer side, they want to try and find a way that won't, again, I like dabbling in the multiplayer. Maybe I might come in and do a little challenge, but I'm a little too scared to play the actual against people because I'm terrible.
Right.
And what's also cool is the challenges aren't just multiplayer, they're single player too. So in the campaign, they'll find ways to modify certain sequences that either make it more challenging, or you have to go about fighting it. Might just defeat an entire army with fisticuffs. Like they're really, that's right now is what they're building is those things. They've just been spending the past 2 years getting that infrastructure into place.
It sounds like there are kind of different layers to these challenges too. They have like the individual, single player, multiplayer thing, but then there's also something, the compensation, or there's a kind of like an overreaching.
They have these medals essentially that you can sort of work towards that are separate from the leveling up system. And what's cool about all of this stuff is that it ties into essentially building a player profile. Now, when I play, Bungie was kind of making fun of me because I was interviewing Luke Smith, one of their guys over there that I'm a good friends with, and he knows I'm not very good. He knows that if I'm going to play Halo with him, I'm going to be an assist character. I'm going to drive the vehicles. I'm going to do all the stuff that no one else really wants to do, but at least I get to keep playing.
Exactly.
But what's cool is that, if you get into a group of strangers, it's difficult to identify what people's strengths and weaknesses are. And so what Bungie's trying to do with Halo Reach and this player investment is that they want to identify patterns of play amongst characters, and amongst those players, they want to build a profile that's already identifiable. You can bring up someone's profile, and it tells you about their style of play. So based on the fact that if you always go to a sniper rifle, but you tell someone, I always use like the SMG, they're gonna know that's not true based on your player profile. And you might think your style of play is different than how the game is actually telling you how you actually play. But I think that could be really interesting for not only for play amongst friends, because it sort of sets up, who do we have, what are their strengths, how do we build a team, but especially with strangers, it allows you to say, look, you are good at this, let's have you do that. I think that could make playing with strangers a lot more interesting.
And obviously that's tied into, you can pull up their profile and see kind of their strengths and weaknesses, but I think it's also tied into kind of the customization of your appearance as well.
Yeah. One of the things they're doing is that what's cool about Halo Reach is that it's not one guy's story. So it's not Master Chief's story. You're part of this squad, and you're sort of in the single player, you're this newbie or this new guy. Doesn't really, we don't know how much background they're actually going to develop around him. What they want to at least to do with the physical appearance of him is that when you go into a match, that's your character, or at least, they're not talking about having hundreds of thousands of different options. You're not going to be able to be wholly unique unless you maybe unlock the recon armor equivalent in Reach before they probably move on to the next thing. But that you should be able to create someone that you identify as uniquely you. And this carries over from multiplayer into the single player. So unlike, say, any of the Master Chief games where you couldn't customize his appearance, that was just Master Chief, the character you create in multiplayer is the character carried over to single player. So if you've got a unicorn emblem on your helmet, that will carry over to the single player.
Finally.
I know. We've all been demanding it, and we're finally getting that. But what's so cool about that is that it becomes more personal, because it's more of your story, because that's your character, that you're off doing these other sort of, smaller meta adventures in multiplayer, but you can do that in the single player too. And I think that's because that not only carries over into the single player, but it's in the cutscenes. It's everything about that character is you. So I think that's kind of cool.
Well, it sounds great. I'm looking forward to it. Not a big multiplayer guy, obviously, but
with that, that's the thing. That
kind of bring people in.
Told me that this is less for the multiplayer hungry guys as much as it is for me, and to find ways that if I can only play for an hour a week, I can get something out of it. Against the kids that are playing for 7-8 hours a day, and I just can't keep up with them. But how can they find ways that I can enjoy the multiplayer experience and get something out of it? It seems like this is kind of a step in that direction.
Well, it certainly sounds like it. And of course, you can find plenty more about Halo Reach at g4tv.com.